Moving on to our next topic of conversation, of which we have many. What did we say we should discuss next? Do you guys want to touch on the Star Trek?
Let's go into Star Trek.
Yeah.
I have the article pulled up here.
Okay. Yeah, because I have like probably like a third of that info.
So yeah, for Star Trek, Deadline has reported that there's 3 potential new Star Trek movies in development right now, or I shouldn't say development, but they're considering the next kind of route to take for Star Trek, and one of them is the Noah Hawley directed Star Trek movie, which got reported, I think, first last year or 2 years ago now. It's been a while.
I think it was last year because remember who was the girl that jumped ship? What's her name?
Ah, dang it! It's the woman I felt so bad for because she was supposed to be
right. Yeah, she was supposed to be. She's directed. Why is she directed like Jessica Jones and?
So. Oh, that's gonna suck. I forget the name. But anyways, Noah Hawley was going to do it, and his pitch, I think, or the movie was supposed to be centered around a pandemic and feature a brand new cast.
Yes.
That was kind of like the main that's all sources know about it. Like there's a pandemic, the team has to try and solve it. It's very Star Trek-y because Star Trek is always
I could see
environment.
I can see the exploration of a ship quarantine
definitely
type deal. That's fun for sure. I mean, diving into a psyche of the cabin fever of being stuck in space on a ship is only something briefly touched on the beginning of Beyond, but that's always something that's really piqued my interest.
Yeah. I like that first act of Beyond.
Dude, it's so good. I love the start. It feels so classic, the whole thing.
So good. So yeah, I remember this news came out. I was initially very excited because I was a Noah Hawley fan after seeing the first season of Legion. What else has he done again? The Fargo TV series.
TV. But he did Lucy in the Sky, which bombed.
Ooh, I heard it was bad all the way around. Yeah.
It's starring Natalie. You know it's a bad movie when you have Natalie freaking Portman starring, and it doesn't it just gets absolutely eviscerated at the box office. And I was excited to see that movie. Oh, you know what? I think I got pulled after a week of being in theaters or something because I remember I was I wanted to try and see it still.
Yeah.
And now I think it's on Hulu because I've seen it just scrolling on Hulu or whatever.
I was so fascinated from the constant changing aspect ratio, but not
the trailers are crazy.
Not in the way that Michael Bay did it messy with The Last Night, where he's just cutting between IMAX and regular shots. No, it was at random. There was a flow to it.
Yeah, so I think he's definitely proved himself as a director in various TV shows. Not so much. I can't think if he's done any other. I think Lucy in the Sky may have been his feature debut.
I think
unless he's produced some other stuff. I feel he's produced stuff.
I'm looking at his IMDb and all it says is Lucy in the Sky, Legion, Fargo, and some other random movies I've never heard of.
Okay, well,
so yeah.
So that's why I think the sentence of this movie is going on hold because it's the subject matter is pandemic is. Maybe the pitch isn't as strong as they thought it was, or they're starting to kind of flesh out the details, and they're like, "Hey, the Star Trek 4 pitch is starting to look more appealing now," or the Tarantino movie.
The Tarantino one is what I actually picked up from the whole. I didn't get to dive deep into anything really except for that part.
We still don't know plot details on that one, and that was also a year ago. Before Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, they were like. Oh,
I heard some stuff with it. First, I heard that it looks like Tarantino isn't actually set to be directing it anymore, but they're going to use the semblance of a storyline and script. And I think the story idea they were going for was an adventure set on Earth in 1930s gangster New York type deal.
Yeah, that's what I was about to read here. It says the movie would have largely been earthbound in a 30s gangster setting,
which. Is interesting because first I had heard that actually kind of stems from a storyline from the original series, but I actually could see something like this work. Initially when you hear Star Trek out of space back on Earth, that sounds odd, why? But they've done it before. They had one of their original films, Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home, was actually one of my personal favorites. It's hailed as a classic. Really, it's interesting. They actually time travel back to present day, like I think 80s New York, and like they have to
Oh.
get the like in the future. There's this spacecraft that's like about to like take out part of the Earth, and they have no communication with it, and the only semblance to get the frequency matches like humpback whales, which have since gone extinct by this century, so they have to go back to get the semblance of that.
Oh my god!
Oh, this is the whale movie. This is the Star Trek.
Yeah,
whale
it's
movie?
the whale movie.
Okay, yeah,
It's
I've heard
pretty
so much
good.
about it, but I heard mixed things, but mostly
It's
positive.
pretty fun.
Yeah,
I think
mostly
Larry Nimoy directed that one too.
oh, cool,
Yeah, it's a good one.
I need to dive into the history of Star Trek because
dude. Same.
I'm so limited.
I have
to
a couple
the
videos I can
Abrams
send you guys
era.
for like video essay
Yeah.
explorations. So this,
Yeah.
for that.
I feel like it's so overwhelming because I just feel like there's so much Star Trek. Like it feels like there's like
Yeah, there's so much.
there's like 20 movies and like a
the
whole
same
series
time-
and another series and then Picard. I don't even know what that is.
That's just like with Next Generation, but like you can like honestly just jump into any specific timeline you want. It's not like super deep connected.
Yeah,
So-
like comprehensive. Like
Yeah, you can just
Directly.
like go on your own quest basically.
that's cool. That's what I've heard. That it's kind of like it kind of has that that feel where you can kind of just pick up on what's happening and enjoy any kind of place that you're at because you'll catch on and it won't be so like invested in what's come before. Obviously, loosely with whatever missions they're on and stuff, but
Yeah, it's timelines, but like, it's like history.
yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when Quentin Tarantino was first announced, I was kind of skeptical. I still kind of am
Yeah.
skeptical.
I was like, it's gonna be like a gory bloodbath in space. Like,
Yeah, Star Trek has always been about like, and granted, I've only seen the J.J. Abrams movies.
yeah,
But Star Trek has always been about like hope and the new frontier and this excitement. and
peace treaties and stuff. Like,
Exactly.
yeah,
I can't see Quentin writing or even directing something like that in that kind of theme. You know what I mean? His
Also,
movie is
it's-
so
yeah.
raw.
It's strange that he would kind of like, kind of drop and dump a script and then someone else would direct it.
It's super
Like,
strange,
it's
right?
weird that someone would direct Quentin's script and then I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it would not translate well from his writing to without his directing. I don't know. That's
agree.
just me.
And he always says like, "I'm only gonna do one more film," and
Right.
I
I
can't
can't
imagine
see
this
Star
being
Trek
his
movie.
last film.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
yeah. No, I never saw that coming to fruition as his final.
Mhm.
But that leads us to the last pitch, which is
Wait, real quick.
oh, sorry.
There's this in the article here. It says like one of the other parts of his pitch here was that Kirk would travel back in time and fall in love with a woman who turns out to inadvertently change history unless she dies.
I think that kind of happened in Star Trek 4.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I'm like, okay, this is weird.
Yeah, if you guys want to like get an semblance of that film, you should just watch Star Trek 4.
Star Trek 4? Okay, cool.
The whale movie. I'm gonna watch it.
Which is
Yeah.
funny because that's actually the first Star Trek movie was in.
Is it on CBS All Access or whatever?
Probably, if we're being honest.
Which I have now.
There's a Big Brother.
Because of
Yeah.
Big Brother.
They should have
And
every
Survivor.
Star Trek on there, actually. Yeah.
But yeah, getting into the final one now, the Star Trek 4 rumor, which has always been in
Please,
guess,
please.
I need it,
floating in
man.
the air. I'm shocked and I'm not shocked that this hasn't come
Me
out
too.
yet. Like, because granted, Star Trek, the first one, 2009, I think is JJ's masterpiece. I think that's his best film. Even though
So
I
great.
prefer to watch The Force Awakens, I think
Sure.
Star Trek is a better film. And that came out in an era in 2009 where the MCU was still young. It had like 1 year in its belt with The Incredible Hulk and Iron Man.
Yeah, just two films.
The DCEU wasn't a thing. Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy was like just had Batman
Halfway.
Begins. So Star Trek was like this big blockbuster and event.
Go
and it
ahead,
made
Dark
money.
Knight.
They had Dark Knight. Man.
Oh, Dark Knight.
Dark
sorry,
Knight.
man.
2008.
But no Dark Knight Rises. So yeah, Star Trek the first one was like this big event, and then
Yeah,
huge
I think
blockbuster.
I remember the
success.
teaser was
Yeah,
like
so
like a
good.
like a grand. I remember like seeing on like I think it was on like my Crystal Skull DVD. I saw the trailer for that. And like they were just you just see the construction of this giant thing while with Chris Pine on a motorcycle. I'm like,
On a
"What is this?"
motorcycle. Oh man.
And
That
it's just like
teaser
revealing the
trailer-
stuff. And you're like, oh, but I wasn't a fan until after I actually got to see it.
Yeah. my dad was a huge fan. He hyped me up so much for that movie because I'm like, Dad, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but I'm not a Star Trek fan. He took me to the theater, and I fell in love with it.
I think
yeah,
I would probably like say of like all the great like I would say like top 3 scenes JJ has ever done is probably the intro to that film. It's with Chris Hemsworth. It's just
good.
It's so good, dude. Like,
which is Chris Hemsworth's first acting role. Like that's
and like I'll just be
role.
watching it like random. I was watching it on its own, and I'm like, why am I already crying like 3 minutes into the movie?
So captivating. You're like, oh my gosh, like who is this guy? Later we know he's Thor, but like Chris Hemsworth was killing it in that scene.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And then after that, like cuts down to Earth right after that, and you just. One of my favorite shots is him on the motorcycle, and then it tilts up, and you just see like the whole infrastructure of like the whole deal that he's now in and
the Enterprise,
the Enterprise. It's just I love that.
It's
movie.
so good, and that teaser trailer, I can't stress enough, guys. We have to watch it one day, live reaction, because. It's so good. Like some days, I'm like, you know what? Let me just watch the Star Trek 2009 teaser trailer.
Just
one
the
of the favorite
trailer.
lines is like, "We need a captain," and then it pins up to Chris Pine. And he's like, "We have one." I'm like, "Oh my god,
dude! It's so good.
good.
Like the flow of command, like being transferred throughout. It's so like.
Oh my god, I'm getting chills just thinking about this freaking movie.
It's like. Fucking, he made him first officer, and you're just like, oh, you gotta be kidding me! Like, I will say, like, the cast is just so
perfect.
Their chemistry together is insane.
And I think probably the best casting of all of them was probably, I would say, Carl Urban for Bones. He's great.
He's
flawless.
So funny.
Yeah, so funny.
Good.
But speaking of the cast, that has kind of been the hiccup with getting this coming back. Is because Chris Pine is a huge star. Like he was back. He was a star back then, but like now he's got 3 Star Treks, Wonder Woman,
Hell or High Water,
Hell or High Water,
so
a handful of other indie movies, and I think a TV show with Patty Jenkins.
Yeah,
that murder mystery show.
Which I think didn't get renewed for season 2. I could be wrong.
I didn't hear anything about
it. Was a mini series.
Like seeing some trailers.
I think it was just a mini series. Yeah.
Anyways, so he wants a lot of money.
Yeah.
Man,
he does. Man. And Chris Hemsworth, right?
And Hemsworth, because the pitch was that he was going to come back,
which is so fascinating,
so cool.
I think even like the semblance of like the original Star Trek series, like the first episode isn't even like Kirk and everybody. I think it is actually Kirk's dad. For the start of it, which is interesting for the first ever episode. But yeah, it's interesting.
And you got to pay Saldana.
Yes.
She's been in every franchise there ever is.
Avatar and Avengers, yeah.
I think it'd be pretty easy to get Zachary Quinto back because he's just kind of doing that vampire show right now.
And who else?
John Cho.
Yeah. He's been doing more. Didn't he direct?
Direct.
What was that film called? Searching,
which is one of the most underrated movies.
I need to see
of the decade.
Is it all from the perspective of the laptop?
Yes, please watch it. It's incredible.
I have the Blu-ray. Let me send it to you.
Okay. If you have a code.
Searching is fantastic. Yeah, I don't think I use a digital code. Hopefully it's still available. But it's incredible. It's one of the best movies of the decade.
It's so funny. He came from like a stoner comedy background with Harold and Kumar.
Yeah, I know, right?
Who played the guy?
Oh, also he was in what was it called? The movie with Haley Lou Richardson. It's about architecture.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Yes. Columbus. This is also such a lovely movie. I think I'm
looking up who was the girl that played Beyond
Sophia Boutella?
Yes. I love
she was so unrecognizable and
Beyond the White Alien with the
Sophia Boutella. Yeah. I mean, she's also been really good in a lot of great side roles ever since.
Yeah, I love. She's great in Kingsman.
She was great in The Mummy. Just kidding. I mean, she was great, but the movie is terrible.
And we got Simon Pegg too, so it's a fat paycheck to get all these people back.
Which didn't Pegg write Beyond?
I'm about to say, yeah, Pegg was writing it. He was trying his best to like keep it afloat.
That's right.
I trust the man with it. I mean,
and maybe they're still going off a version of that script. I don't know.
Maybe, but
I hope.
For that movie, there's no director attached. For the last one, we had like Quentin Tarantino. Before that, we had Noah Hawley. For this one, it's just like a continuation with nothing attached to it.
I will say, I am like very. I'm happy they didn't make any adjustments to Chekhov's story since the passing of Anton.
Oh,
but
dude.
which is so sad, and I'm happy they paid tribute to both him and Leonard Nimoy at the end credits for Beyond. But I am like really happy that they just like respect everything they shot and just kept it like Last Jedi with Carrie. They just like kept everything going. And I'm pretty sure it would be easy to just like write in like transfers of like shifts and crew for moving forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like pointing out like I'm happy they kept his stuff intact. And obviously like they should never recast. They shouldn't do that.
But what was your thoughts on the whole money situation? Because it was interesting. I think Chris Pine is
okay. Beyond
is Chris Hemsworth also at money conflict, or
I think
it was mostly Pine. I believe it was Pine.
I think it was Pine. I kept seeing Pine and Hemsworth, but it was so long ago that I forget. But Pine is so interesting. I think Pine, in my opinion, is the best Chris that we have in terms of acting ability.
In terms of Evans, Pratt, and Hemsworth?
Yes, in terms of Evans, Pratt, and Hemsworth, I would say Pine, Evans, Pratt, Hemsworth. In terms of acting ability, not in terms of star power, but acting ability. But I think the whole star power thing is interesting because that's probably why they're not budging. He's not a big star compared to Evans or Pratt, or especially Hemsworth in that matter. He can't lead a movie outside of Star Trek, and even then, Star Trek is more of a franchise. They come to see Star Trek.
It's an ensemble, really.
Yeah, they come to see the cast, and they come to see Star Trek. They don't come to see Pine specifically.
Yeah, they're not there just for Kirk. They're there for the crew.
And Star Trek is in a difficult spot because it's a movie franchise, especially the J.J. Abrams ones, or at least 2009, Into Darkness, and then beyond. It's a slippery slope. It's a declining slope of
and
growth.
Here's the numbers for that slippery slope.
Oh, dear.
So they spent the movie lost $50.5 million overall, all said and done, which is
Beyond.
Yeah, because
Dang.
Their budget was $185 million, which is bonkers for. It's a Star Trek, but so I'm thinking if I'm Paramount right now, I'm trying to get Star Trek 4 done for like a cool, like 90 to 125 million. I would say like that would be the sweet spot.
You could do it though.
Yes,
like,
you could totally do it.
Easy. Yeah.
And if you write a more grounded script, like that doesn't have like giant radio frequency battles. Granted, I absolutely love that whole sequence. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Beastie Boys so good.
But anyways, I think you can get it done. So really, it's just a matter of negotiations, I guess. Like I think you can get a Star Trek 4 done for $100 million production budget and make a profit.
But are people going to see that? Are they still interested in Star Trek in a world where we have 4 Marvel movies coming out soon, 3 DC movies, Avatar is coming back, Star Wars is still huge.
So good.
Maybe somewhere in a semblance where we don't have a Star Wars movie in theaters for a time.
This is the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's already been 3 years since Beyond, which is already horrifying.
Yeah. But it is concerning because Beyond's worldwide total was only $343 million. And
but do we chalk that up to the marketing?
But even the first Star Trek wasn't a huge. I mean, it was a huge hit, but it wasn't like comparative now, like a big box. I think the first Star Trek made like 400 or 500. I think it was it was weird because it was an instance where like a lot of like old school fans like it was a big shift because it wasn't like so similar. It was made for a new set generation. Diving into stuff. Yeah. But regardless, 2009 made 385 million.
How much did Into Darkness make?
Domestically or worldwide?
I think worldwide. Let me see here. Star Trek. Scroll. Yeah.
But anyway,
385.
Wow.
Huh. Maybe expectations were a lot lower before Avengers broke the world.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. But on the Wikipedia, then just talking about the release, since it lost 50.5 million, so it would have had to clear $400 million at the box office to make a profit, essentially. Which I think you need to make a Star Trek movie that clears at 250.
Oh, at least, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I don't know. So this is all what they're juggling right now, and it's like, it's that's why they have 3 pitches. Is like, if we go with a new cast, we don't have those giant cast paychecks for a huge ensemble.
True.
And so you're gauging, okay, what's more of a pull here? The ongoing cast and storyline, and that dynamic going on. Can we re-energize the franchise with that, or do we just start fresh, save money knowingly from the start, and then if we make a better product or better movie, but it's new, will people go see it because it doesn't have ensembles?
That's a thing. Is just like whenever I hear like once again there is another new set Star Trek, I'm just like, well, okay, once again, but like I have no like initial intrigue to just jump into something new again and again. I think they would probably bank better off of the returning cast.
I do too.
I don't know. I think even if they do the new cast with a new pitch, that new cast has to be appealing to people, right? You're gonna have to get somebody.
So you're gonna have to have you're gonna have to have a Chris Pine.
If they wanted to do a reset for New Adventures, I would be intrigued if they went a route of like bridging, because like back when they were still making original movies, they had one of the films called Star Trek Generations, which basically bridged from the original series to the Next Generation series.
So it's very Star Trek, all right, to do kind of those hand work kind of deal.
Yeah, and it's interesting because they're already in an semblance of like the existing series going side by side. So if they wanted to like branch to like a new set of crew and cast instead of having to get the returning crew every time, they wanted to like wrap up their story one more time, but also have them work with a new crew, cast for the Next Generation type crew, which are such big, if not the biggest fan favorite series of all of them. I think that could be something intriguing to do. But then that also gets kind of tough because you want to get not just like great casting for these beloved characters from Next Generation. You also want to make sure they're in the longevity for the long run.
Exactly. It's a difficult spot for any new franchise in this era. There's so many big blockbusters with so many release dates. Like a couple of weeks ago, we went through the whole 2021 release calendar year, and it's just jam-packed for the next couple of years. So,
and you know what? They found their niche kind of on CBS. There's 2 shows now, Discovery and
Picard.
Picard, yeah.
So maybe they're gauging it and saying, hey, if the theatrical market isn't working, we're going to keep fleshing out this universe in the TV realm, the streaming realm of things, which of course is probably very appealing at the same time.
Always very appealing, which is kind of nervous for me because I always prefer to see movies instead of TV series, even though streaming is so popular right now. And I don't even know how popular Picard and Discovery are. Granted, they're getting new seasons, but I can't tell numbers on those kind of streaming services.
I think I heard Picard was a little rocky for OG fans, but they're still kind of there because it's still Patrick Stewart and Brett Spiner.
Definitely.
Yeah. And
the other thing too, I remember this kind of ties into kind of maybe the fall off of the J.J. Abrams era is for a long time Paramount was pushing really hard back at any fans trying to make any kind of fan content. Do you guys remember there was a big, I can't remember what the production was called, but there was a big Star Trek fan film that raised a substantial budget.
Oh, wow.
And basically Paramount sued them and got it shut down because it was,
I remember that. Wow.
Just because it was in the name and the brand.
Yeah.
And, with other franchises, of course, you see hundreds of Star Wars fan films and other things, and that
they've had fan film awards in Korea.
Right, it recirculates into the breadth of the fandom and all that. So I think that in an instance too is kind of from a Hollywood perspective is kind of pushed back on the movies. Not that it incrementally affects the box office, but it certainly has kind of the conversation of Star Trek is not as big as it was in 2010, right after the big movie and Resurgence came out, because there's been some pushback on what fans can actually express themselves as. So I think it's definitely a factor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say Paramount, CBS, Viacom, all that together, they're the worst in terms of copyright here on YouTube. They just
oh really? I didn't know that.
They'll shut you down immediately and just tear you apart.
And it's a bummer too, because it's these are the people that build your brand. Why would
a month ago I tried reacting to the first episode of the show, which I think the first episode came out back in 2010, 2011. I was like, yeah, I want to check this out, and it's 3 hours later it just shut me down, blocked all the way through, and I was like, God, why Viacom?
That's
brutal.
crazy.
You're making how much money on SpongeBob and you're just coming after me?
Right now, Paramount is looking for a franchise. What do they have? Did they have Mission Impossible, which is
which might be about to end for all we know.
Exactly, it might be about to end with 7 and 8. So
it's certainly gonna be bankable, but it's gonna end.
They need a franchise. They don't have a huge. I don't think they have James Bond, right? That's Universal.
I mean, they're not running Indiana Jones anymore, right?
No,
that's Disney now.
They're rethinking Transformers, right?
They have Transformers.
The guy that,
please continue with Bumblebee.
Remember the news? Was it who got the director of I can't remember, but they said they're doing a writer's room or something for the live action movies, but somebody got an animated feature Transformers movie, and I can't remember who it is.
Animated?
Do you remember this news, Nathan?
Well, no, I just remember.
So, you're saying an animated movie is coming up?
Yeah, I feel like it was from one of the Toy Story, one of the people that
I remember hearing about the 2D thing. I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah, no, let me try to get this up.
I know there's a series on Netflix.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot.
But it was kind of a big deal because people are like, yes, this is.
I think it might have been connected to the OG 80s series.
Oh, okay. I just looked it up. The next installment in the Transformers franchise is animated in 2022. That one?
Yes. Transformers
in production.
Who is?
Directed by Josh Cooley from Toy Story 4. Okay. A lot of fans are
like, hey, this is dope because a lot of the popularity from the Transformers franchise comes from those animated series, and so a huge big budget Transformers animated movie is incredibly exciting and just a complete switch up from the Bay movies. Not that it's saying a huge franchise or whatever, but they have that and the other Transformer stuff, but who knows what's even gonna happen with that. I hope we get another Bumblebee. I love Bumblebee, but
Bumblebee's fantastic.
It was so fun. He's a Camaro now again.
It says it's going to be a prequel animated movie to see what Optimus Prime and Megatron were like before they had to go to Earth.
I will say it was so. What a great opening of Bumblebee to actually be on the Cybertron world. It's literally the original 80s show brought to life because they have the same aesthetics as the original cartoon. Everything was great.
You know what? John Cena is so cheesy in that movie, but it's perfect.
Oh, I liked it. I thought he was pretty amazing. It's one of the rare moments where I'm all right. It was one of the rare moments where I'm all right, John Cena.
Yeah, John Cena. Come on, I had a blast with this character. I mean, he's not much. And
better
also,
than the other military.
I love the ending scene. The ending scene where he turns into the car, the Camaro, and then Haley Steinfeld's in the mirror, and it's objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. I was like, oh, my heart.
Jurassic Park.
Literally, it's yeah.
Dude, it's so good. I want to see more. It was funny. The other day, one of the Scoop guys tweeted out a photo of Shia LaBeouf. Everybody's like, is he coming back?
Oh my God.
And it's no, he's not. I think it was for a semblance of a Marvel thing. I think somebody's eyeing him for Iceman in the X-Men, but I don't know.
Awful.
I don't know if that would pay off. But I was like, if you wanted to like retcon reincorporate a Shia LaBeouf Bumblebee connection, like I'll take it. But
I won't. He's a horrible character in those movies.
I mean, like that's what I'm saying. Retcon to a new character.
He was bad. His script was all like Bumblebee. Like,
Yeah, no, I'm thinking of that clip that I've seen going around like, this is a collector's edition.
Are you Ladies Man 217?
oh
my
God, those movies were bad, man.
It's
Fox, because she was absolutely just taken advantage of for
that's
the male gaze, and just the whole era of those Michael Bay movies of just like, if I don't know if you guys are like
Every
rewatching.
female in those movies are
Yeah, but it's absurd. Like her opening scene in that movie is just like, oh my God, that's I remember she was in the second Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
She's in the first one too.
Oh, she was? I can't.
Yeah, she's in both. She's literally April O'Neil, like the main girl.
Okay, well,
I didn't see that. I didn't see those movies.
I did. I saw them both in theaters.
The Green Arrow guy was in that movie.
Yeah,
too.
Stephen Amell is Casey Jones in the sequel. No, it's funny. Like one day on Twitter, like Stephen Amell was like this year, like he was promoting like one of those like preset like, hey, text me at this number thing, and I like I texted him. I was like, what's up, Casey Jones? Like not Green Arrow, just Casey Jones.
Wow.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah. How do we get to Transformers?
Well, I guess Mutant Ninja Turtles is also Paramount too.
Yeah, it is. I don't think they're continuing though. I mean, it's like it was 2016. I think the last one was.
Paramount is having some bad luck with their franchises, man.
Please,
I just heard them announce they're doing a Patrick Star show, even though everybody wants SpongeBob to end.
Oh, jeez. Face palm.
Yes.
Anyways, I think
what's next? Yeah.